How can one become a new version of themselves, a higher version, a better version, a healed version? Well, this has to be one of the hardest journeys that we'll ever take in our lives at some point. Because at some point we have to decide who we want to become. Reinventing yourself is not about finding yourself, but it is about choosing who you want to become. The version that you are today did not just appear, it was built. It was built through repetition, through pain, through habits, through the things that you kept tolerating, and through the thoughts that you kept on feeding. And if this version of you was built unconsciously, then another version of you can be built intentionally. But this is where a lot of people struggle. Because reinventing yourself sounds so beautiful in theory until you realize that it requires letting go of who you've emotionally become attached to. And you have to let it go even if that version of you is struggling to let go. Well, hello my besties, welcome back to the channel. My name is Phiwe. If you're still new around here, this is a community that helps each other grow, and I am your best friend cheering you on as you build your own dream life and your own dream business. And if you would like to be a part of this community, then please do subscribe so that you are notified every time that I post a new video. But without a further ado, let's get into this one. First, I want us to talk about why most people remain the same. Most people remain the same because they think they are trapped by circumstances. But a lot of the time, they are only trapped by identity. You can want a different life with your mind, while your nervous system is still attached to the old one. And that is why change feels so difficult, because your mind is not only trying to survive physically, but it is also trying to survive psychologically. Another thing is that the familiar eventually becomes identity. Once you repeat emotions long enough, it starts feeling like behavior and it starts feeling like you. You start telling yourself that, oh, I'm just an anxious person. I'm just so lazy. I'm just inconsistent. And the most dangerous line, this is just who I am. But one of the most powerful teachings by Carl Jung was this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that is exactly how most people live their lives. They call patterns their personalities, they call fear their reality, and they call conditioning who they are, without realizing that they are actually living on autopilot. And the dangerous part about living on autopilot is that you can spend most of your years repeating the same emotional patterns while convincing yourself that life is just happening to you, when in actual fact it is happening for you, based on what you have made unconscious and your autopilot. Next, I want us to talk about how you don't find yourself, but you build yourself. You have to be aware that identity is built through action. You don't become confident first and then act confident. Instead, you act courageously over and over again until confidence is built. You do not become disciplined overnight, but you build discipline every time that you do the things that you said you were going to do. And that is why it is your daily habits that matter the most. Because every action is teaching your mind who you are. If every day you ignore your goals, you procrastinate, and choose to avoid the discomfort, then your mind will eventually identify you as a person who quits a lot. But if every day you start showing up consistently, even if it is imperfectly, then your identity will slowly shift. Then eventually what once felt so difficult will now start to feel normal to you. Now let's get into the pain of reinvention. And this is the part that people don't talk about enough. Reinvention is not easy. It is hard because it requires death, not physical death, but the death of the old identities, the old habits, habits, the old mindsets, the old coping mechanisms, and the old emotional attachments. So you are not only becoming someone new, but you are also grieving the old version of you. You are grieving the old habits, the old comfort zone, the old emotional patterns, the old ways that you learned to survive. And also the old pain that you got so used to. And it got so familiar that suffering has become something familiar to you. And this is the reason why people go back to toxic environments, toxic habits, toxic people, and toxic relationships. Not because they love suffering, but because the familiar feels safer than the unknown, even when that familiar is now destroying them. Now I want us to get into how to actually reinvent yourself. And I want us to make this one practical, because inspiration means nothing without the implementation. First and foremost, I want you to be aware of your current identity. I want you to ask yourself honestly who you've been rehearsing every day, because identity is rehearsal. It is the thoughts that you repeat every day, the emotions that you feed, and the habits that you normalize. Those are all the things that reinforce a new version of you. Then I want you to stop waiting to feel ready. You will not always feel ready, but action creates clarity. Most people delay their lives because they are projecting their fear onto time. Telling yourself that you need more time is not going to help you with anything. But it is going to delay you, and it is going to delay your process. Because most of the time, it is not time that is the issue, but it is the fear. Then I want you to build habits that match with your future self. Your habits should reflect where you are going, not where you've been. If your future self is disciplined, healthy, peaceful, and emotional intelligent, then your daily life has to slowly align with that. Not perfectly, but intentionally. Then I want you to change your internal language. Change the way that you speak to yourself. Stop reinforcing old identities with your words, because your mind listens to everything that you repeatedly say to it. So speak in alignment with growth. Then I want you to learn how to tolerate discomfort, because becoming someone new is not going to feel natural. It's going to feel unnatural at first. And most people quit too early because they mistake discomfort with failure. Lastly, I want you to know this truth about becoming. At the end of the day, reinventing yourself is not about becoming fake, but it is about becoming conscious. Conscious of your behaviors, conscious of your patterns, conscious of your conditioning, conscious of your habits, your emotional attachments, and the identity that you've been unconsciously feeding. You are not trapped in who you've been, and anything rehearsed can be rewritten, one habit at a time, one decision at a time, and one new identity at a time. And so with that being said, my lovelies, I hope this video helped you understand the self-reinvention better, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye from me.